Now we're going to talk about Jesus and his claim to be the unique Son of God, which is another thing that Islam outright denies. They say that Allah does not have a son. Don't say that he has one. The universe would explode if he said he had one. Don't say it. And yet we have this passage that pushes against that extremely hard in a very clever way. What did Jesus mean when he said, then the sons are free? Notice the question that Jesus asks. What do you think, Simon? From whom do kings of the earth take toll or tax? From their sons or from others? Now, notice that the question Jesus asks draws a distinction between citizens of a kingdom or nation and the ruling family of that same kingdom or nation. In any kingdom, kings don't typically tax their own sons, right? The sons are free from the king's tax. And, in the same way, Jesus is exempt from the temple tax on account of him being the unique son of the Father. Right? That's the rationale that Jesus gives here. You can't get away from that, right? When Simon said from others, Jesus said to him, then the sons are free, right? The sons are free in their own household, which is why Jesus says, I actually don't have to pay that tax, Peter. But what do you do with this passage? What do you do with this passage where Jesus is clearly saying, I don't have to pay the temple tax because I'm God's son. And because I'm a son, I'm free. I'm good. What do you do with that answer? Right? That's Jesus saying that. But more to the point, it gets worse for the committed Muslim. Exodus chapter 30, verses 11 to 16, we see the following. You shall take the atonement money from the people of Israel, and shall give it for the service of the tent of meeting, that it may bring the people of Israel to remembrance before the Lord, so as to make atonement for your lives. Why is this money called atonement money? I thought Leviticus told us that only blood could take away sins. Only a blood sacrifice could do that. So what are we doing here saying that money is being given for atonement? What is this? Is the God of Israel is not corrupt. He won't take a bribe. So what are we looking at here? Well, consider the following. Calling the money atonement money may be due to the fact that the money was used to upkeep the temple, which was their only means to deal with sin. Their souls are riding on this temple to deal with the sin problem of the nation. And so, in that sense, this money is atonement money because God only accepts sacrifices at this temple in his name done properly, which means that y'all are going to have to pay a little bit of money to upkeep the physical temple to make sure this place still stands. So that way, because if this goes, you don't have atonement without a temple. If we're talking about real Judaism, rabbinic Judaism, oral Torah Judaism, just ignores what Moses said, ignores what the prophets said, and said, yeah, no, you can just pray and give alms and all this other stuff, and that'll atone. No, 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 no. Only blood sacrifice atone. And, boys and girls, Jesus himself needs no atonement. He is not in need of the temple because he is the greater fulfillment of the temple, right? Jesus had no sin. He's sinless. Why? Because he's the unique Son of God. Because he's the unique begotten Son of God, right? Straight from the Father's essence, begotten eternally. He doesn't have sin. He doesn't have sin that he needs to have atoned for in the temple. I don't need to pay that tax. I don't need it. I don't need it. The temple was just a picture of Jesus. Just a picture of Jesus. A humble looking but glorious building that God's special presence is with, that provides atonement via blood sacrifice of animals. Jesus is the humble looking but glorious human who is the eternal Word made flesh, God the Son, who will provide atonement via his own sacrifice on the cross. So in short, Jesus is exempt from this tax because he needs no atonement and will very shortly provide the final atonement, the final ransom payment for the lives of all in Israel. Soon they won't have the tax anymore because Jesus himself will become the ransom. The tax itself is a type of Christ and a picture of him. You can know nothing about Jesus while feeling like you know everything. That's why you got to check what you think you know about Jesus against what Jesus definitely knew about Jesus in the Gospels.